So now I want to get to a story that you probably haven't heard told correctly, and I'm afraid we're not going to finally get to our out there, but we may have to hold that one over for another week. But this story is definitely worth hearing, and that is, if you didn't hear it, a lady named Kathy, and they pronounce it Boudin. That's not the French pronunciation, but that's how they say it. Kathy Boudin died on Sunday from cancer. Now, who was Kathy Boudin? Well, besides being the mother of San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin, who is a George Soros-funded plant like we have in so many places across the United States, these social justice warriors that George Soros funded in their elections, and they won all these state attorney and district attorney positions all around the country, and now they're not enforcing things like, the death penalty, and they're not prosecuting what they call property crimes or petty crimes, which can be, basically everything up to and including armed robbery. And they're just letting people out. They're not prosecuting all those rioters from a couple of years ago. They're not prosecuting anybody and certainly not doing it properly. Well, this is important to know. Chesa Boudin, the current DA in San Francisco, his mom was a lady named Kathy Boudin. Now, if you recognize that name, then kudos to you. Your media will never remind you of the fact that Kathy Boudin was in prison for a number of years. I think it was almost 20 years for a crime that she committed as part of what was called the Weather Underground, which was a violent communist revolution that occurred in this country in the late 70s and early 80s. You may not have ever heard of this. People like Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dohrn, Obama's mentors from Chicago, they were involved in the Weather Underground. And you got to go out there and read this story of what happened on October 20th of 1981 when Kathy Boudin and her paramour, David Gilbert, drove a U-Haul truck into position to act as a getaway vehicle for a violent robbery of a Brinks truck that had $1.6 million in cash, where the folks got out shooting automatic weapons, killed one of the security guards carrying that cash, and were part of trying to create the violent overthrow of the U.S. government back in the early 80s. All these people were involved. They're all Marxist-Leninist Vanguard Party revolutionaries, and their children are now in charge of everything. And you need to know about that, folks. I'm Morgan Streetman, and that's the way I see it. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.